I was still playing football. I still went back, went to practice, all this other stuff. Was still, had to be very protective of what my platelet counts were, because if they were too low, I couldn't have any kind of physical contact or hit, because I could bleed internally and die, or I'd get a bruise and it might not go away, or I could I could start bleeding and I just couldn't get it to stop. So my doctors told me, they said, okay, Travis, we let you play football after the last one. You're not going to play football during this. We just cannot let you. And I was always the kid that says, when you tell me I can't do something, I'm going to do it. I'm going to prove you wrong. I proved you wrong that I could make it through my first transplant in flying colors. I'm going to prove you wrong that I can do all this stuff and make it through my second transplant in flying colors. So a couple weeks after I was diagnosed, I ended up playing in a football game in Fat Friday against Freedom, our rival high school at the time. And I'd had chemotherapy all week. Actually, 1 week, a couple weeks before that, I had chemotherapy all week, and I didn't even make it to the game on Friday night because I was just so weak. But my teammates wanted me out there. My coaches wanted me out there. My coaches could have easily said, well, we don't want Travis to play because we don't want him to get injured and stuff like that. But they knew that that's what I was living for. They knew that I wasn't just going to the hospital to come home and throw up. I was throwing up to come out here and play. I was getting this poison out of my system so I could get out here and play. So we ended up playing Fat Friday in November, which was my junior year in high school. We're down 14-0 at halftime. Ended up coming back, tying the game at 14 with about probably 45 seconds left on the clock. I actually ended up kicking an extra point that barely makes it over the crossbars, because like I said, I had chemo all week. And it was rainy and cold, and in November, rainy and cold, and having chemotherapy, and your body just, your muscles, just not reacting the way they usually do. And I was slipping and sliding all over the place. And so I made this extra point, and we end up, tied. We end up going into overtime. Earlier that week, some of the folks from Freedom had been at our JV football game, and they'd come over, and one of them happened to be Freedom's kicker, and he was like, oh, what if this comes down to field goals? Are you going to miss? Or, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I don't miss. Even while I was on chemotherapy that week, I was still had enough confidence in myself that I wasn't going to miss if that's what happened.
And I would have to bring on Travis Jones, I would think. So Travis Jones will attempt the field goal of 40 yards. Whether Travis hits or doesn't hit, this young man has had such a tremendous year, fighting as he has with the leukemia. You're going to have a benefit to tomorrow barbecue at Rutherford College. We encourage everybody to participate in. Of course, you're going to hear this broadcast back on a Wednesday. That would have been the preceding Saturday. The snap is up. The kick is going. Is it long enough? It hits, and it goes through. A 40-yard field goal by Travis Jones. Got the bounce on the crossbar and went in. Travis Jones. I don't know how this game would come out, but if it would come out now, and Travis Jones would have won this game in overtime with a 40-yard field, a 39-yard field goal, him fighting leukemia as he has this year, it will be a year that none of us will ever forget.
Our fans had left our side. We were at Freedom High School. They had left one side because they didn't think that we were going to tie the game. Well, we ended up tying the game. So a lot of our fans are coming back. They're all on Freedom's side. And of course, my story and everything like this, me going through having cancer for the third time and all this other stuff. And I was going to have a benefit the very next day, after this game, for one of the local churches was going to have it. And so everybody knows all this stuff. And so it's kind of like this huge, leap build up to this game. Nobody thought that they would let me play, and so all this other stuff. So we actually ended up in overtime, kicked a 40-yard field goal. It actually bounced off the upright, the crossbar, and went over. So I'm like ripping my helmet off. We haven't won yet because we had first possession in overtime. So I was we hadn't won yet. So I went to the sidelines and stuff, and people are giving me a hug. It's just all this great experience. Even if we lose, still, we did this. Well, then 2 plays later, one of our guys intercepts the pass from the other quarterback, so the game's over. So, 3 weeks after I had been diagnosed with leukemia, I ended up kicking a field goal to beat our rival high school in Fat Friday. And, it was one of those Hollywood stories that you couldn't write. I had my friends carrying me off the sideline, all this other stuff. I mean, it was a wonderful experience. It was kind of it was one of those things that at the time needed to happen, in order for our family, I think for part of our family to heal, part of our community, our friends and stuff to heal, for something good to happen.
A heartbreaker for the Patriots, but a night forever to remember for Travis Jones and the Eastburg Cavaliers. Got on the field, I'm seeing something that's touching. Head football coach Curtis Treat wipes the tears from his eyes as he took a young man away from the rest of the players and brought him out to the 40-yard line and embraced him. Coach Treat has said numerous times he's never seen anyone with more courage than Travis Jones. The young man fighting leukemia connected tonight with a 39-yard field goal in overtime to take the Eastburg Cavaliers to a 17-14 win over Freedom on Fat Friday 22.
Very special player of the week for the last AutoZone award of the high school season. It's memorable to kick the game-winning field goal, as we all know, against an arch rival. But Travis Jones from Eastburg has leukemia and is facing a far greater challenge in life, as our John Roberts reports.
There are few rivalries as big as Fat Friday, and this week's player of the week goes to the man who won Fat Friday this year for East Burke High School, Travis Jones. Now, Travis, it all came down to one big kick at the end of the game. Tell us a little bit about what was going through your mind when they gave you the call to make the kick.
Well, there wasn't really anything going through my mind. I mean, it was just a regular kick. I mean, it didn't look much more than a PAT to me. But, I mean, the field was soggy and the footing was bad, and I just knew that I had to get it off and win it for the seniors this year.
Have you ever coached a kid that had so much courage?
No, I don't think I've ever been associated with a young man that's been an inspiration to his football team and to his coaching staff in the community as Travis has been. Travis, certainly, if anyone can have a hero, Travis is my hero.
Was it tough to go and make that kick when you weren't feeling at the top of your game?
No, I had the adrenaline pumping. I knew I had to play the best for the seniors this year and for the juniors and for everybody on our team and for the coaches, because this was Coach Threep's first Fat Friday, and we had to win it for him.
Okay, and you got a good student body behind you cheering you on. Travis, we're going to give you this week's Player of the Week on behalf of News Channel 3 and AutoZone. Guys, let's hear it once again for Travis.
Believe it or not, he was given 3 weeks to live 4 weeks ago. So he has gone off to Duke to get some more treatment. We are praying for you, Travis.
We sure are.